The lights are on. Read that again, not off. Not abandoned, on. Escalators moving for nobody. Music playing to empty corridors. Staff positioned for crowds that aren't coming. MR reports 105 million annual visits. 342 people crossing the threshold every single minute of every operating hour. Count the people entering right now. Count them for 60 seconds. The number you count and the number they publish are not in the same order of magnitude. That gap is the entire story of what is happening to Dubai right now. 105 million annual visits. Dissect that word. Visits, not visitors. One resident living 3 minutes away who runs errands, grabs lunch, picks up a prescription, catches a movie. That's 4 visits in one day. 1,460 in a year from one person. The tourist who flies from London, sees the aquarium, eats once, and then leaves. That's 2 visits. The sensor at the door cannot tell the difference. It counts bodies through a door. Dubai had 4.1 million residents. If each visited twice a month, a conservative estimate for a mall that functions as the neighborhood hub for central Dubai, that's 98.4 million visits from residents alone. Ordinary errands, grocery runs, low-value, incidental use. The remaining 6.6 million, split across 16.7 million annual tourists. That is not destination retail. That is not the discretionary, motivated, commercially generative visit the number is designed to imply. Here is what Emaar has never published in 15 years of operating the world's most famous mall. Sales per square foot. The company that announces 105 million visits every year has never once told the world what those visits spent. That omission is the first answer. The second is what you see when you walk through the doors and count the people for 60 seconds. Walk through the main entrance on a Friday afternoon, peak of the peak, start of the UAE weekend, the moment when footfall should be at its closest to the 342 per minute average the numbers imply. The atrium is not empty. People are present, but count them. A full 360-degree survey of the atrium and adjacent corridors. On the research day that informs this script, that number was 47, in a space engineered for thousands, with sightlines extending hundreds of meters across 3 visible floors of retail. 47 people produce the ambient sound of 47 people. The footstep echo that disappears inside a crowd is audible. You can hear individual conversations from 20 meters away because there is nothing between you and the sound to absorb it. The echo is the first thing that tells you. The luxury corridor of the Dubai Mall runs for approximately 400 meters. It is the commercial spine of the mall's premium proposition, the stretch of brands, whose collective presence was the argument that Dubai had achieved the status of a genuine global luxury destination rather than a regional retail center with aspirations. Cartier, Rolex, Patek Philippe, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Bulgari, Van Cleef, and Arpels. Tiffany, Bottega Veneta, Prada, Gucci, Dior, from the complete roster of global luxury arranged in the architectural configuration of a shopping street that was designed to feel like the Via Monte Napoleone in Milan or Bond Street in London. The specific streetscape of serious luxury retail translated into an interior environment. Walk the corridor slowly. Count the customers visible through the glass frontage of each store. Count the staff visible in each store. Note the ratio. The Cartier facade recently refreshed. The seasonal campaign imagery current. The window display precisely maintained to the brand's global visual merchandising standards. Step to the glass and count the people inside. 2 customers. 1 examining a bracelet with a sales associate who is providing the specific, unhurried, deeply informed product narrative that Cartier trains its staff to deliver. 1 customer browsing the watch cases alone. 2 additional sales associates visible. 1 at the till area, 1 near the entrance, both in the waiting posture that luxury retail training specifies for the moment between customer engagements. 2 customers, 4 staff. In the world's most visited mall, on a Friday afternoon, in the heart of the luxury corridor that was going to be the Gulf's answer to Bond Street, the Louis Vuitton, larger than the Cartier, the store with the highest single location revenue potential in the corridor based on brand volume and price point positioning. 4 customers, 3 sales associates on the floor. The ratio is 1.33 customers per staff member. In a retail environment that is functioning at designed capacity, the ratio inverts. More customers than staff. Staff managing multiple engagements simultaneously because the volume of customer demand exceeds the availability of service. 1.33 customers per staff member is not the ratio of a functioning luxury retail corridor. It is the ratio of a luxury retail corridor in a mall that has lost the customer whose spending justified the leases, the Rolex. The specific challenge of the Rolex is that its product is managed through a waiting list system, the deliberate supply constraint that Rolex has maintained for years to support its pricing and its desirability. In 2022, the Rolex waiting list in Dubai ran 18 months for the most sought-after references. The sales associate would not discuss timeline with any specificity because the timeline was so long that discussing it risked the customer making alternative arrangements. In March 2026, the Rolex Dubai sales associate discusses availability in terms of weeks, not months, weeks. The waiting list that was the proof of the brand's desirability has contracted in ways that the brand does not publicize, but that anyone who has tried to buy a Rolex in Dubai in 2022 and tries again in 2026 immediately notices. The Hermes, 4 customers, 3 staff, 1 customer at the scarf table. The entry-level Hermes purchase, the item that the brand uses to introduce the customer relationship that eventually moves to handbags, and then to the controlled, relationship-dependent access to the Birkin and the Kelly that constitute the apex of the brand's product pyramid. The Birkin customer, the customer whose purchase justifies the entire retail architecture of Hermes, is not visible in the store, may or may not be present by appointment. The staff are not discussing it. Walk the full 400 meters, count every customer in every store, add them up, divide by the number of stores. The average number of customers per luxury store on a Friday afternoon in March 2026 in the Dubai Mall luxury corridor is between 2 and 4, 2 to 4. In the mall that 20,548 people per hour are supposed to be entering. The math of that is the math of a corridor whose commercial viability is under a pressure that the window displays and the brand standards and the impeccably maintained facades are not equipped to communicate. The food court is the most democratic space in the most commercially stratified retail environment in the Middle East, where the luxury corridor filters its customers by price point and by the specific intention required to enter a store where the cheapest item costs 4 figures. The food court requires only hunger. It is the space that every category of visitor uses. The billionaire who wants a quick lunch, the tourist, the domestic worker on her day off, the teenager, the family. The food court, therefore, provides the most honest footfall data in the building. It is not filtered by aspiration or income. If people are in the mall, a proportion of them will eventually be in the food court. The Dubai Mall food court complex, spread across multiple seating areas on the ground and first floors, has a total seating capacity of approximately 4,000 people. On a day when the mall is generating the footfall implied by 105 million annual visits, the food court should be running at near capacity during the noon to 2 p.m. lunch peak. Noon on a Thursday in March 2026. Count the occupied seats. 1,380 of 4,000, 34.5% occupancy at noon on a Thursday in the peak season in the world's most visited mall. But the seat count is only the beginning of the food court story. The seat count tells you how many people are present. The outlet queue data tells you how commercially active those people are. Walk the food court outlets. All 22 of the primary outlets in the main food court area. Count the queues. A queue in a food court context means any situation in which a customer is waiting for the customer ahead of them to complete their transaction before being served. Any situation in which demand is exceeding instantaneous service capacity. Queues at the Shake Shack. Yes, 6 people. Say, a functioning queue. The American burger brand that draws the specific demographic of young professionals and tourists who associate it with quality fast casual dining. Queues at the Zatar W Zeit. Yes, 4 people. The Lebanese fast casual that is a genuine regional brand with authentic local following. Queues at the third outlet, the Tim Hortons, 3 people. Queues at any other outlet among the remaining 19. No, not minimal queues. No queues. The outlets are staffed and operational, and the menu boards are illuminated, and the food is being prepared on its standard cycle because the food preparation runs on a schedule tied to the operating hours rather than to the customer volume. And the staff member at the counter is available immediately for any customer who approaches. 3 queues among 22 outlets. At noon on Thursday, in peak season, the 19 outlets without queues are not empty of staff. They are staffed at the level calibrated to peak hour service, the staffing that was set when the food court was running at the capacity its design intended, when 19 outlets needed queues managed rather than customers waited for. The staff stand. The food is prepared on its cycle, the outlet is operational, and the customer is not there. Go deeper into the food court, find the specific tables, and look at what is on them. The food court table in a functioning mall tells a story, the story of people who are mid-meal, who have trays and cups and wrappers in various stages of consumption, who arrived and will leave and will be replaced by the next set of customers, whose arrival and departure cycle keeps the table in continuous use. On the food court table in the Dubai Mall food court in March 2026 tells a different story. The table is clean. The cleaning staff have been through recently, more recently than the occupancy rate would require, because the tables are turning over slowly enough that the cleaning rotation is completing before the tables are reoccupied. Clean table, empty tray, clean table. In the middle of the lunch hour, the cleaning staff to customer ratio in the food court is approximately 1 cleaning staff member per 8 customers. In a functioning food court, the ratio inverts. The cleaning staff are outnumbered by the customers they are clearing for, are moving at speed to reset tables fast enough to accommodate the incoming volume. 1 to 8 in favor of staff at noon on Thursday. The Dubai Mall Aquarium and Underwater Zoo, 10 million liters of water, 33,000 aquatic animals, 400 sharks. The tunnel that walks visitors through the underwater environment, with rays passing overhead and schools of fish moving in the peripheral vision. The 32-meter panoramic viewing panel, the single most photographed interior surface in Dubai, and one of the most photographed interior surfaces in the world. The aquarium was the masterstroke of the Dubai Mall's development, not because it was the most commercially significant element. The ticket price is modest relative to the mall's overall revenue, but because it solved the problem that every large mall faces, the anchor problem. A mall needs something that people come specifically to see, not to shop at, to see. The aquarium gave the Dubai Mall an attraction with the draw of a museum, the spectacle of a theme park, and the commercial advantage of being embedded in a retail environment that capture the consumer on the way to and from the attraction. Walk to the 32-meter viewing panel right now. In 2018, on a Friday afternoon at 3 p.m., the crowd in front of the viewing panel was measured by the mall's own footfall systems at between 280 and 400 people standing simultaneously. The panel was visible from 50 meters, but obscured by the density of the crowd. You could not see the glass, only the backs of the people pressing toward it. Children were being held aloft to see over the crowd. The sound of the crowd, the specific sound of hundreds of people simultaneously reacting to the sight of a shark swimming through their field of vision, was audible from the adjacent corridor. On the research day for this script at 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon in March 2026, 22 people standing in front of the viewing panel. 22 of the 280 to 400 that the panel was designed to accommodate and that it routinely attracted 6 years ago. 22 people spread across 32 meters of viewing glass, each with unobstructed access to the glass. No lifting required, no crowd to navigate. The 400 sharks moving through the 10 million liters of water to an audience that is 5% of the audience that the aquarium was built to attract. The sharks do not know. The rays do not know. The 33,000 animals in the 10 million liters of water are indifferent to the crowd's absence, in the way that all animals are indifferent to the commercial metrics of the human institutions that contain them. They move. They eat the food the aquarium team provides. They follow the patterns that their biology produces. The humans who paid to design and build the most expensive retail attraction in Middle Eastern mall history are less indifferent to the numbers. The ticket booth for the aquarium experience, the paid tunnel walk, and the underwater zoo that supplements the free viewing panel is staffed at its standard configuration. The staff are there. The operations are running. The ticket scanner is active. The queue for tickets on a Friday afternoon in March 2026 is 4 people. At the aquarium that in 2019 had 45-minute waits and advance booking recommended for peak times. 4 people, no wait. Walk up, pay, enter. Escalate from the ground floor to the first floor. The escalator carries you past the advertising panels that face the escalator ride, the seasonal campaign imagery, the new collection announcements, the specific language of retail marketing addressed to the consumer who is ascending toward the product being advertised. The advertising is current. The campaigns are this season's. The marketing investment is being maintained at the level of a mall operating at full commercial capacity. The consumers who are supposed to be ascending toward the advertised product are not on the escalator. Count the people on the escalator. On a Friday afternoon between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., the period that retail traffic analysis identifies as the secondary peak of the day, the post-lunch, pre-dinner window, when shopping traffic is at its second highest concentration. On the research day, 7 people on the up escalator simultaneously. The escalator that was built to carry the shopping traffic of a mall hosting 20,000 visitors per hour is carrying 7 people. The first floor, the fashion retail floor. The brands that constitute the mid-premium tier of global fashion retail, positioned between the accessible and the luxury. The Ralph Lauren, the brand that positions itself at the intersection of aspiration and accessibility, aspirational to the consumer below the luxury threshold, accessible to the consumer at the top of the mid-market. The brand that requires the specific spending confidence of a professional class with disposable income and the cultural alignment to understand what the Polo Pony logo communicates. Dubai's professional class has contracted by 32% in 12 months. The Ralph Lauren on the first floor has 6 customers and 4 sales associates on a Friday afternoon. The fitting rooms, the 8 fitting rooms that were specified in the store's fit-out for the volume of trying on that peak hour customer traffic requires, have 2 occupied fitting rooms. At the peak of the secondary peak period, in the Ralph Lauren flagship in the world's most visited mall, the Tommy Hilfiger, 7 customers, 3 staff. The Lacoste, 4 customers, 2 staff. The Calvin Klein, 3 customers, 3 staff. Equal numbers of customers and staff in a store that was designed for the inverse ratio. Walk the full first-floor fashion corridor. Apply the same methodology. Count every customer, count every staff member, calculate the ratio. The average ratio on the first-floor fashion corridor in March 2026 is 1.2 customers per staff member, barely above parity. In a retail environment that is functioning at its designed commercial density, the ratio should be between 4 and 8 customers per staff member. The range in which the store is operating at the level its lease economics require, 1.2, barely above parity. The lease economics require 4 to 8. The gap between 1.2 and 4 is the lease renegotiation that is coming. The gap between 1.2 and 8 is the lease that will not be renewed. Real Cinemas Dubai Mall. 22 screens, the largest cinema complex in the UAE and one of the largest in the region. The anchor entertainment tenant of the Dubai Mall's entertainment zone, the format that generates the evening footfall that keeps the mall commercially active after the retail day has ended. The cinema was always the Dubai Mall's evening engine. The 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. screenings that brought residents back to the mall after dinner, that sustained the food and beverage revenue of the restaurants and cafes whose peak was the pre- and post-cinema customer, that kept the mall's commercial ecosystem running across the full operating day, rather than concentrating revenue in the retail hours. The cinema occupancy data for March 2026 is not publicly available. Cinema operators do not publish seat occupancy by screening, but the visible evidence of a cinema's commercial health is observable without access to internal data. The queue at the ticket counter, the concession stand activity, the lobbies between screenings, the specific human density of people arriving for one screening while people are departing from another, the cross-current of commercial activity that a busy multiplex produces. At 6:45 p.m. on a Friday in March 2026, 15 minutes before the 7 p.m. screenings, the moment when a functioning multiplex cinema has its peak lobby activity of the evening, the Real Cinemas lobby contains approximately 60 people, buying tickets, buying popcorn, arriving. 60 people for 22 screens. At the 7 p.m. Friday peak, the screens average fewer than 3 people each if the 60 are distributed evenly, which they are not. The most popular screening drawing more than the others, but the point is the aggregate. 60 people in the lobby that serves 22 screens tells you that the screens are not full. The concession stand, the specific commercial engine of cinema exhibition where the margin is made, where the popcorn and the soft drink and the nachos and the candy that cost 10 times their retail price in the context of the cinema experience are sold to the customer who is emotionally in the right state to pay 10 times retail. The concession stand at 6:45 p.m. on a Friday has 2 of its 4 serving positions open, 2 closed, covers down. The 2 open positions are serving customers at a pace that allows the staff time between transactions to restock the display. Restocking between transactions at 6:45 p.m. on a Friday at the cinema that was the anchor of the mall's evening commercial activity.